Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to create a French dart. And we're going to do that by moving our waist dart here to the intersection of our waistline and side seam. All right, we're going to use the pivot method for this. So all we need is our sloper. We don't need a working pattern for that. All right, and we want to have we want to know where our French dart is going. Okay, we already said it will be coming from this intersection here of waist and side seam. First thing I need to do is create a small line right here going in the correct direction so that I can transfer that line onto my paper when I go to pivot. So our darts, if they're used for fit in the front bodice, always point towards apex, which is this blue X right here, that point. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one end of my ruler right on apex and the other end at that intersection of side seam and waist and connect those 2 points. I'm just going to go ahead and draw a small line here. I don't need to draw a line all the way up, just about an inch line or so. That gives me the direction of the line that I want to transfer onto my paper. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a placement line. This is the line that our center front will go on. And we'll put center front right against it. Okay, so now we can start tracing off our pattern. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to start here at that point where our dart's going to go, and we're going to transfer that line onto the paper. So I'm just lining up my ruler with that line and transferring it onto the paper like so. I'm now going to continue and trace up side seam, come around armhole, mark my directional notch, come up shoulder, mark my notch there, and come down my neckline. Center front is already marked because of our placement line. I will mark my bust line there, and also mark my apex. Come down to our waist, and we're going to come down. We're going to trace from our center on the waist from our center front to that first dart leg, and I'm going to mark that first dart leg. Now we're going to go ahead and close this dart, okay? When we close this dart, it's going to open up our new dart here, all right? The way we close this dart is we've already marked this dart leg, so we're going to pivot this dart leg over so it matches with that first dart leg that we marked. We want to put our pin down right in our apex, and then I'm going to close this until my other dart leg comes to the first dart leg where I marked that first dart leg. There it is right there. There's my marking, and now they're lined up. We've now closed this waist dart. I'm going to continue tracing from there until I get back to where I started, which is at that mark. And I'm going to go ahead and line my ruler up with that mark and transfer it onto the paper again. There we go. All right, so now you can see my waist dart is closed, and I have this large gap here, which will be my French dart. Let's go ahead and put that aside. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is start perfecting this. I want to draw on my bust line, so that's right here. If I square off, I have my apex mark there. Okay, and then I'll have a nice gentle curve from apex to intersection of armhole and side seam. Right there. There's my bust line. I'll make sure apex is clearly marked. There's apex. Okay, so now we can go ahead and start perfecting this. I'm going to go ahead and square out at my center front and neckline for 1/2 inch, and center front and waist for 1/2 inch. Make sure I don't get a point there. True my neckline. And true shoulder. True my armhole. I have a notch here at shoulder. directional notch at my armhole. Okay. Now I still need to true my waist and my side seam. I like to do that. I'll do that after I perfect my dart here. Okay. So to find this dart, we need to create the center fold line of it. That center fold line needs 2 points to create that line. So one point is apex, which is right there. The other point is between these 2 dart legs. So we can either measure the distance between them, or what I'll do is I'll fold this dart leg to that dart leg, creating a crease. Let's see, right. There's my crease. That crease should be exactly in between these 2 dart legs. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw on my center fold line. So here's the crease. Make a point there. There's apex. Connect those 2 points. So there's my center fold line. Now we need a dart tip so we can connect our dart legs to it. Our dart tip will be 5/8 of an inch down from our apex. So here's apex. I'll measure 5/8 of an inch down from apex on that center fold line I just drew. Tee it off. There's our dart tip. I can now connect my dart legs to that dart tip. And same thing on this side. Alright, there we go. So now I want to perfect waist and side seam. I'm going to fold out this dart and then I'll perfect those. So to fold out the dart, we're going to go ahead and fold under at our dart tip first. Okay. And now we're going to crease the dart leg closest to center front, which is this one. Folding it under at dart tip will keep this crease from going past the dart tip. Okay, I've creased that dart leg close to center front. Now I'm going to close it by bringing it to the other dart leg. And there we go. I can open up that. See, now our dart's doing exactly what it should be. It's taking foldness out of the area where we don't want it and putting it where we do want it at the bust. Flatten that down a little bit. Now that I close this, now I'm going to go ahead and perfect my waistline and side seam. Go. And side seam. I also have a notch right here on my waistline where my dart used to be. Okay, last thing I need to do is perfect my dart opening. Now that I've perfected my waistline, I can trace over where we can see the shadow of the dart seam allowance. So I'm going to trace over my new waistline wherever it's overlapping the dart seam allowance. There we go. Open that up. There's my perforations creating my dart opening. I'll go ahead and perfect them now as well. Okay. So this is my center front. Add my my grain line. That will be parallel to my center front. You can now go ahead and add seam allowance. Seam allowance can be added at center front, or center front could be cut on fold as well. Whichever you desire. And there, we've transferred our waist dart to intersection of waist and side seam to create a French dart.